Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today I have with us, she's an author, and she has a new novella out right now that's called Vampire Dentist. I have with us Christina Whitlock. Christina, welcome to the Horror Room.
Yes, thank you for having me. And it's Christine, not Christina.
Christine, I apologize. Christine Whitlock, everyone.
Yes.
Christine, tell us a little bit about, it's an interesting title, Vampire Dentist. I love the cover.
Yes. Well, it's adapted from my movie that I made, Vampire Dentist, a 90-minute comedy horror feature film. The movie came out in 2006, and it wasn't until last September that I adapted the script to a novella, so a comedy horror novella.
So tell us a little bit about the story.
So it's about two newly trained dentists. They're very clumsy and inept, and they can't get enough patients to pay the bills for their rundown dental establishment. So they go and interview various people to take on the night shift. So who should come along but Dr. Drek Vam Dent, which is Vampire Dentist, Vam Dent, and he takes over the night shift. And then this seems to attract a lot of other vampires into the area, which takes on a lot of attacks, local attacks in the industrial park where the dental office is, and also at a local park.
Wow. So what gave you the inspiration for the film?
Well, I was getting my teeth cleaned at a dentist's office, my annual cleaning, and I don't know, it just came to mind, who looks after vampire teeth? Because they've got teeth and fangs, and you know, they must have problems with different things, loose teeth and biting problems, and that's what the vampire dentist, he gets these vampire patients, and also even some of his family come to get their dental processes done by him. And he uses all different kinds of different techniques that has never been seen before from any human dentist.
Because I mean, it's an interesting concept. Because I mean, you think about vampires. By the way, I would love to be a vampire. It sounds like a fun lifestyle. But like, yes, they do have teeth. And they only come out at night. I don't know. I mean, I live in Baltimore, Maryland. There are no dentists that are open in the evenings or nights. So, like, if you were a vampire, you wouldn't need a dentist, and to have a dentist that's open at nights would be perfect.
That's right, and that's what the vampire dentist wanted, to have that time slot from sunset to sunrise. And then there was also some times, when the sun didn't rise as early because, the seasons. Mm-hmm. We have a later time in the winter time for the sun to come up, and of course a shorter time in the summertime, which we're getting, I guess, June 20th or 21st, it'll be the longest daylight, and then it starts getting, less. So we have to, take advantage of being outside, if you like, the sun and the good weather for us humans. But yes, for the dental people, the vampire people, then, they have to look for the longer nighttime.
Yes, 100%. Now, what were some challenges for you to adapting a 90-minute film into a novella?
Well, the difference between a script and a novella is a script is basically a lot of dialogue and action. Very little description of the characters and the locations, their clothes and that sort of thing, because that's up to the director and the costume designer and all that. So I had to put all of that information in, and since we filmed locally, I'm in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, just south of Toronto. So we were able to film in the back end of an industrial unit, and then also used a very popular local city park. Now, they allowed me to film inside these tropical houses and these greenhouses. Now, this film is now a historical film because they've torn down those greenhouses and that tropical house and built newer, bigger ones. So what was happening back in 2004 and 5 when the film was filmed, it's the information and the location looks entirely different now in the park. So I had to remind myself, how did it look like back then? Because there was a lot more trees where the vampires were jumping out of and attacking people at night that walked through the park, or homeless people that were sleeping there. And then in the greenhouses, there was the end of a mum show. They had an annual mum show in October, so they let me film there. And so there's all these dead mums all around. So I was able to, take advantage of dead flowers and that all around in these greenhouses, and have the vampires attacking there. And then in the tropical house, which was also fitted out so that people could enjoy it during this mum show, it was very colorful, and they had water running through it and all different kinds of plants that I had to remember and use some of those plants and that in the script for the dialogue.
So if I was to watch the movie right now and to read the novella, do they go hand in hand, or did you add a couple things to the story?
The novella doesn't follow exactly how the movie goes, because I kind of put like the park attack scenes, I put them all together, and the industrial attack scenes. And then I put a lot of the human patient scenes together, and then the vampire patient scenes together. So I had them more in blocks. Well, in the movie, they're all split up, for more variety in the movie. But it seemed better in the novella to keep those things together in blocks.
Now, when it comes to filmmaking and writing, which one would you say you prefer more?
Well, to me, because I'm a visual person, script writing I can do really fast. But when you have to think of adding all of those descriptions, and the other thing that isn't in a film is inner thoughts. So,
yes.
So the actor, through their facial expressions, through their body mannerisms, they have to be able to show emotions and all different kinds of emotions. So you have to be able to describe that in a novella and not be too cheesy about it. You have to use, like they said, show it, don't tell it. So
yes.
Show the tears in their eyes, or the clenched fists and tight lips and that to show anger and things like that. But but in the novella, you have to describe it. And then if this is a personal tag of that person, and they have the tag that they're biting their lip a lot as a normal way of doing it, you have to use variety to describe it. You can't keep saying he bites his lip, like you have to think of different ways to do it so that people won't think, oh, I just read that, a couple pages beforehand. You have to have a lot of variety in your writing in that respect. While in a movie, it's the variety of the scenes that they film. And there's some books that I have read that they keep saying the same things over and over again. And I'm thinking, we already heard this 2 or 3 times. Like, why do they keep repeating it? I think we already got it, right? So sometimes I think, well, they're trying to fill a certain amount of words, because I know like a novella, it has to be at least 20,000 words up to 50,000, and a novel is from 50,000 to 120,000. So, I guess some people don't have enough subplots to
it's a lot of filler.
For a lot of filler, because like some books you think, I don't want to keep reading the same stuff over and over again, and that didn't happen in my book. Well, like I said, I had quite a few attacks in the park and in the industrial area, and I had to make them all different, different kind of vampires, different kind of victims, different ways of attacking, different evening sounds or owls or things like that makes the scenes be in a variety of different writing styles.
Now, the vampire dentist, does he turn them into a vampire, or is he murdering them? Or both?
No, the vampire dentist, his whole thought is to help his fellow vampires. He wants to be of service to the vampires. In fact, he came from the old country, Romania, to the new land so that he could practice without restrictions, because it was frowned upon, that he was he was a nobleman in Romania and of a royal family. So going and servicing lower vampires who had these teeth problems and fang problems, wasn't good. Like he wasn't into biting people to turn them. Now, I'm not going to say that he didn't do a couple, but I won't say why and who they were, because of course then you have to read the book. But he had his reasons. Now the other, there was a gang of bad vampires that would keep coming and harassing him while he was trying to do his dental work, and they were known as these bad vampires. And in fact, somebody came and gave him something to ward off these bad people, but so that I could write other sequels. They haven't been destroyed, these bad vampires, so they still have use for the future for other things, and to be bad people in other sequels.
Now, do you personally think that, this is your opinion, do you personally think that living the life of a vampire would be a tough life to live? Or do you think it would, I think it'd be an easier life, because you could live wherever, you have time. And that's something us as mortals, we don't have. We don't have time, we have an expiration date. So, your
It,
personal
it's
experience, what do you think?
it's interesting because the sequel that I've written first as a script and I'm adapting it now to a novella is that the vampires don't live forever, that
Oh,
they have to get this. It's called the bloody vial. It's the blood of the first famous vampire Nosferatu. That if they drink the blood of the Nosferatu, then they can live forever. But depending which vampire story or family or whatever that you read about, not all of them live forever. Like sunlight can burn them, crosses can burn them, stakes through the heart can kill them. So that they can, they cut off their heads and put holy water on them, and that could kill them. So it just depends on the writer on how long these vampires live or not live, and not all writers have the same way for these vampires to feed. Not all of them live off of humans. There's been books that I've read where they've had a conscience. A vampire has a conscience and doesn't want to eat or feed off of humans, so he goes to animals, and also like bigger animals like cows and horses and that, and then if he's desperate, he'll find smaller animals like mice and rats to drain their blood.
now why do you think in a lot of vampire books and even movies, do you think that because I mean that's an interesting concept you brought up. Because if you're a vampire, why wouldn't you? I think it will cause less attention if you were to feed off of animals compared to humans. Why do you think in a lot of books and movies it's specifically human blood that they're attracted to?
Well, unless you're really into animals, you don't want them, feeding off the animals. But it seems humans are very weird. That it's okay to kill and murder people, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's so much violence in stories and books and movies that it's okay for vampires to feed on humans, especially if they feed on bad humans.
Yes.
If you could, like if I don't know if there has been a movie yet about like a family of vampires attacking like a mafia family type of thing that I know of. That sort of thing, like the grunge of the earth, or someone who wants to clean up a city and goes after all the homeless because they're already, so drugged out and close to death that they're going to help them to die.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't read anything about, vampires feeding on homeless or druggy people, that they get any of the diseases or drugs within their system.
Oh, yeah, that's that I haven't read it. I mean, it makes sense because unfortunately, I mean that's why serial killers a lot of time kill prostitutes and homeless people because they're considered the undesirables of the world.
They're cleaning up society.
Yeah. So I'm shocked but like maybe their blood is tainted or something. Maybe their blood is, as a vampire. Like if I was a vampire, I don't think I would feed off of homeless people or drug addicts. Like I don't think. Now I might go the route that you were saying, violent people or bad people, yes. But like I don't know. I just feel like a homeless person is not getting the right nutrition, the balanced nutrition, and there's nowhere their blood tastes as good.
Yeah, so it's interesting. There's all different ways that you can adapt your story, and go different ways. Like you said, the mafia, the homeless people, and that, and because vampires are supposed to have these characteristics that they can see at night, and some of them may be able to fly and that sort of thing. They may be able to read minds and hypnotize people and that sort of thing. So they may also, because of these skills, be able to work with the police.
Yes.
Like with bad people. Now, there are, I've heard of a blood disease where a person produces too much blood and they have to go to the hospital. I don't know if it's weekly or monthly, because an aunt of mine had the disease, but I didn't get into it that much with her, and she had to go and have the blood drained from her.
Wow.
So these blood diseases, and so a vampire could have a clinic, a night clinic, that these people for free, because in the States, if you don't have an insurance plan, you have to pay for all these services, right?
Yes.
And in Canada, we have a lot of free services, but it's getting more and more that they're charging us. So, if you had to get rid of blood from yourself, and of course you can't just cut yourself and let it spill out, because it's got to be controlled. I don't know if it has to come from a certain vein or something like that. I'll have to check into that. That might be another sequel.
This is a good story. See, Christine, we're coming up with a sequel right now for you.
Yes.
But yes, I mean, you can go a lot of different directions with vampires, and that's why, out of the, I guess you call them the universal monsters, I've always had a fascination with vampires, Dracula, because you can go so many different directions. There's so many different stories, and everybody has their own telling of how a vampire lives.
Oh yes, and like I said, as new diseases come about and new technology, then these vampires might have to adapt to these things in these stories. I haven't heard yet of any about vampires in space.
That's just true.
Right?
But it's dark in space. As far as I know, it's dark in space all the time. So, I mean, that would be their perfect, environment. But I don't know. Can a vampire... I've never heard of vampire in space.
Right? That's another sequel, right?
That's another sequel.
And the thing is, now, nobody's really said with vampires, light is made up of all different kinds of properties. So maybe vampires really only are affected by one kind of property, or just a few properties. So if in space, they could still have light, but a different kind of property of light that we're not used to, because they say human eyes can only see so much of the light spectrum. So maybe vampires are really only affected by certain spectrums of the light, and they really could. So if a vampire was on a different planet and it had a different kind of spectrum of light, because I don't know if all suns in the universe are the same. Do they all give out the same kind of light, or is there different kinds of suns?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're coming up with some great ideas right now. By the way, no one's watching. Please do not steal our ideas, okay? Christine and I came up with these. But yeah, but listen. So have you always been a horror fan growing up?
Oh yes, yeah. When I was young, I would go uptown to the Saturday afternoon movies. There'd be, two or three going on, and I've got all kinds of vampire books that I've reference books, and I watch every vampire movie that's out there. Also to steal ideas or get different ideas, and it was great talking to you and getting some ideas, talking
Yeah.
about space and light and people with blood problems, right? Like,
Yes.
because you don't know what other things that humans health problems humans may have that vampires could help them with if they suck out the blood. Now, we only know that vampires suck out the blood, but they might be able to suck out cancer. We haven't heard yet of a of a cancer sucking vampire, right?
Ooh. Yeah.
Because like those are cells, and those cells have blood in them.
Mhm.
And for a certain type of vampire, this might be like, they've hit the gold mine
Yeah.
with this special kind of cancer cells.
Well, how about by any like blood diseases? I mean, you have hepatitis and even like HIV. Like, the vampire could be the cure to a lot of these diseases.
Yes, yeah. That they might be able to take out the virus when they suck it out, and then regurgitate it and give back good blood. We don't know what they can and can't do until somebody says they can and can't do it.
Because the world is wide open for vampires. Listen, Christine. We're partners now. We're gonna write some more books on some vampires because there has been. Listen, you brought up some good points. There's some untouched stories about vampires. I mean, there's a lot of vampires. We all know the classic vampire stories, but like, it's the year 2024. There are things now out there that vampires could benefit, or they could help benefit humans with, besides being a dentist.
Yes. A blood doctor, a vampire blood doctor.
I think they would suck up all the blood, though. See, I was about to say a phlebotomist, but then like there would be no blood left.
No, but if they only need so much to live on, and the person has diseased blood, then they could like take it all in and then spit it back out to them in without the disease, and only take their share, because our bodies make, I don't know how often our bodies make blood, but if you went to see the vampire doctor once a week or once a month to get cleansed, I can see that working.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How about so listen, my day job, I'm a mortician. I work in a funeral home, right? I am
Oh,
What about a vampire mortician? Think about it, because one of the process of embalming a body is you have to drain the blood out of the deceased. What if you're a fucking vampire? You can just go in and the person's already dead. You know what I mean?
I don't think I've ever heard of a vampire mortician.
I know. We need but would a vampire drink a dead person's blood though?
But then again, we have different people's opinions about when death happens, right?
True,
Like,
true.
there's been cases that people think the person has been dead, and then they found them knocking on their casket.
Hmm.
So, and this would be a way, because I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, a lot more people are opting for cremations.
It's the same way here.
And
Cremation
as
is
far as
huge.
I know, that they don't do anything to the body, taking it from, just say, from the hospital to the crematorium. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So here, if you knew there was some bad vampires that were attacking people, you'd say, stop attacking live people. Here, we're going to give you all these dead people to drink their blood because it's still blood. Or
That's what I'm saying.
Or do they really need live blood? Has anybody explored that? I haven't heard of that.
But that's the question, because like if you were a vampire, and if human blood is human blood, because drinking a deceased person's blood would be the best way to go. I mean, it's not affecting. I mean, listen, I'm pretty sure the family wouldn't want that happen to their loved one. But I mean, if you didn't know, you didn't know. By the way, I'm not a vampire, and I'm not drinking any dead people's blood. By the way, so.
No, but you know how
Yeah.
in Canada, when you get your driver's license, you can sign a paper saying, if you were in an accident, that they
Be a
take your
donor.
organs, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Same here.
Now, I know a lot of times they ask for blood because they have blood shortages. Well, why can't you sign and say, take my blood? If, like you're dead, and I don't know how fast the blood pools or whatever, and if it's possible to take it out of the body, because it can't go bad like in half an hour or something. So if they did it soon after the person died and took out the blood, they could use it, for hospital use after it's cleaned, and for vampire stories, like vampires that they have in prison, if they had a vampire prison of these bad vampires, because if they couldn't be killed, then you could give them dead people's blood.
I mean, that would make sense,
right?
Because I mean, listen. So us as human beings, right? We eat dead animals, right? We eat dead animals. I mean, we don't go out there and eat a living animal. So, like, wouldn't the same thing apply when it comes to vampires? Like, why would you want a living human being? Like, is there a difference in the taste of blood for a living compared to a dead? I mean, I know that oxygen leaves leaves your blood when you die. I don't know how quick, but oxygen. But is that oxygen is what they crave for that taste to give them a high? Because I hear consuming a large amount of oxygen gives you almost like a high, gives you an energy. That's why a lot of casinos, they pump in a huge amount of oxygen into the casinos, because they give the people a high and they give them energy to stay at the tables and continue losing their money. So, like, I'm wondering, does the living blood give them a source of oxygen that gives them, not only feeds them, but also gives them a certain high?
Because blood has a lot of iron in it, right? Now, as far as I understand, when they kill animals, they try to use as much of the animal as possible, like, almost everything that they can. And they use the blood too, because they make like blood sausage and different kind of blood things, right? So that's being used. Now, I haven't heard, whether blood sausage is, because it's got that high concentration of blood and iron in it, whether it's better to eat blood sausage than it is to eat regular sausage that has less blood and iron in it, right? So you think that would be good for people, and then so nobody's explored that area of blood of dead people and vampires.
I agree. And people are watching us right now, Christine, and they probably thinking that we're high on marijuana. I promise you, I'm 100% sober right now. but we're having a fun conversation about vampires. That listen. But at the end of the day, I think we came up with some great ideas, and I think we came up with some amazing story ideas. Now, Christine, where can everyone find Vampire Dentist?
I'll just show the cover again.
Love
So
it.
it's available on Amazon, both as a paperback and an ebook. And if you want to get the movie, it's also available on Amazon and eBay and Kijiji.
Oh, nice. Now,
Yes.
is it on any streaming services or no?
No, it was interesting. I've wrote, directed, and produced 4 horror feature films, and the first 3 Netflix sold as DVDs when the movies
wow.
first came out. So that was
Nice.
years ago, because like the movies came out in 205, 206, and 207. So
Okay.
a while ago.
Awesome. Well, everybody, listen, get over to Amazon and grab your copy of the DVD and the novella, Vampire Dentist. And please follow Christine Whitlock on social media. Christine, this was a fun conversation. I hope we brainstorm some great ideas for your sequels.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we did.
Yes. Vampire Mortician, Christine.
No,
That's
but you could write that.
I'm not a good writer. I mean, I don't think I could write that. But listen, by the way, no one stole my idea. Vampire Mortician. If someone wants me to, okay, listen, I'll do the screenwriting. If there's a filmmaker out there that wants somebody to come up with the vampire and they can put it in the film, Vampire Mortician, I've never seen that, and it's a great idea.
No, I've written with people who've had no writing experience, but they had different other life experiences that we were able to put in the story. And you've got the mortician
Yes.
experience. And like I said, so find a writer that is interested in putting that story together, and then, work together to get it finished.
I agree. I'm going to do that. If anybody's interested in the Vampire Mortician novella, book, or movie, please contact me on Instagram. All right.
Great.
Christine, this was fun. This was
Yes,
really
very
was. This was fun. All
Thank
right.
you for having me.
No problem. Listen, you're more than welcome to come on anytime and we can sit here and talk about vampires. I fucking love vampires, and I could talk all night with you about vampires.
Well, I have 2 other movies that have to do with creatures, so we'll have to set a time for those.
Ooh, let's do it. Let's do this. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Christine Whitlock. We'll see you next time. Take care.